with Shane D. Get your motherfucking heavy metal news from me. I want to butter your biscuit, want to butter your beans. So come on, motherfucker, let's get down with some heavy metal news, heavy metal grooves. Lots of facts, lots of fiction too. Gonna get it on. 181, come on, let's get strong. With Shane D, get your motherfucking heavy metal news for free. That's right, I said heavy metal news, that's what we talk here. Heavy metal news, motherfucker shit. Jive Talkin with Shane D, get your heavy metal motherfucking news for free. We're gonna put it down, it's a 181, gonna have a little fun, gonna grab your bun shit. Let me grab those buns, baby, do it right now. Welcome back to another episode. Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo. Get a couple of things right out of the way first off. I may look a little greasier because I've had to put sunscreen on. So I'm not only red because sunscreen doesn't do anything for me. I got to get like the 150 whatever. And I've got 50 right now, so I'm still burning. But now I look greasy and burned for wearing sunscreen. That's the first thing. Now you're noticing my glasses like this. You see how they're not going over the ear? Well, that's because I figured out that the glare, most of the glare is gone. See, if I put it up like that, there's that glare. But if I put the glasses down like this, like I would regularly do when I'm doing this thing, there's not as much glare in my glasses. Now, am I saying that you're going to not see any glare? Of course not. See, you're seeing it right now. I'm just saying that I'm trying to make things better around here. Do you remember what Johnny B said in the last episode? He said, I feel like they're getting better. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, is make them get better. We got so many wonderful stories here. A few things we won't be talking about. Metallica's already working on a European tour. There's so many bands that are going out on the road. Former the Devil Wears Prada drummer, he was killed in a plane crash. Gus G, he says that this Black Sabbath show is going to be the biggest festival of all time. So many things. Adrian Smith, he says that it's a pleasure and a delight to work with Bruce Dickinson writing songs, says he's really easy to work with. These are all stories we're not going to be covering. We're going to be talking to Wendy Dio, says she was with Lemmy literally 2 hours before he died. We got Ian Gillan here, Max Cavalera, and first up in episode 181 of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, I'm welcoming you here. It's like I almost glitched there. Did you feel that? I was trying to talk too fast. I'm trying to sound too professional, and it just don't work. Anytime I try to be professional or I try to put my ducks in a row, as they say, it never works out. I have to go off the cuff. I have to go off the sleeve. Whatever the phrase is. We got your comments. It's the best part of the show. We do that at the end of the episode. If you'd like to be part of that, this is a no request zone, by the way. You don't put your requests for videos for me to check out in here. This is for Jive Talking members only, where you talk about the previous episode. If you want to be part of that, well, then you got to listen to this whole damn thing, and then you got to put a comment in. I think someone calls me a wiener. Says I'm a wiener or something in the comments. But I welcome you one and all. It's more heavy fucking metal news. I saw, I watch a lot of I kind of spatter around with all that, some of the heavy metal YouTubers. I mean, look, I exist out there. There's millions of people that don't know that I'm even exist right over here in this little corner of the internet. But I noticed that Nick Nocturnal, he's called it quits. He put a permanent suspension on his video, says no more of that. He needs to figure his life out and stuff. So, and I watched him from time to time. I'd see him pop up in the shorts and stuff. So that's just something else we won't be talking about. Let's get into it. Kenneth, you see him right here? He's got some tender loving eyes. He says, I didn't mean to kill the dog. I just got a hold of... No. He's going to talk Jimi Hendrix, okay? I'm in a very weird feeling right now. I've been in a weird feeling all damn day today. Just a strange off. This morning I'm driving, driving a truck. We'll get to Kenneth here in a minute, okay? He can wait a second. This is more important. But I'm in kind of a bad part of town. I'm at an intersection at a red light, and I'm waiting in the crossing guard. There's this one little boy and his backpack. Cute little fella, and he's just, strutting across the street. And I was thinking to myself, and I was about ready to make a right turn as he was coming across the way there. I was like, this is kind of a bad part of town to be just letting, he was the only kid within eye shot that I could see. And I was like, kind of not a good neighborhood to just let your little one run like that. So I come around the corner, and I happen to just see him, he's flopping up the street. Fucking kid turns and looks right at me like that, and then flips me the bird. And I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine in this neighborhood. But then I was like, that was a sculpted bird. Remember that? Remember the first time you learned how to use the finger? And you had to decide what design you wanted to use. And this guy had a fully sculpted, the thumb was hanging. And he hit me with that. And I was just like, well, fuck you too, buddy. I gave him one of mine back. But just when you think, oh, vulnerable. Then he shot me that. Ain't no one you got to pull over and talk to that kid. If you shoot him one of those, no. Anyways, let's get into it. Of course, he's going to have nice things to say about Jimi Hendrix. KK Downing says Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze, and Foxy Lady were cutting-edge metal songs when they first were released. And he's pretty much right about that, right? When Purple Haze was pretty gritty. In a new interview with Sakis Fragos of Rock Hard Greece, KK Downing was asked about Judas Priest's musical evolution, more blues-based sound on the band's debut album, 1974's Rock-a-Rolla. And remember, that album, Rob Halford had long red hair, beautiful long strawberry blonde hair, and those flowing shirts, which I've thought more and more about as I get older, going, where can I get my hands on a couple of them big fucking flowing shirts? I don't want to wear a muumuu, something that goes to the floor. That would look ridiculous. But I wouldn't mind one of them flowing kind of Stevie Nicks numbers, just to chill out in at home. I'm not going out anywhere in it, but the Rock-a-Rolla album to a more aggressive approach, which combined elements of their earlier bands like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, was introduced a signature two-lead guitar approach that became a hallmark of the heavy metal genre. Downing said, as transcribed by the fine and fantastic Blabbermouth, they've really shaped things up around here, he says, yeah, I think that it was a natural process, really. The way it all came about, I'm saying. Everything evolves, literally. It was such an exciting time. I'm so lucky, by the way, Sarkis, I'm absolutely blessed to have been born in 1951. And I have to say that because just as I was coming of age and started to have a bit common sense and awareness, it's when I was kind of 13, 14, and 15, everything was happening musically. Everything was happening. So, much was happening. Admittedly, a lot of it, to start with, was kind of off the pop front with the Beatles. You got to say that. If you're from England, you got to say Beatles. You can't say the Beatles, like I would say it. So have you heard the Beatles? You got to say Beatles. And so many other bands. But also we had come along, obviously. We had the blues movement with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and the Cream, and obviously the Rolling Stones and Small Faces. They were great. The Trogs, the Pretty Things. When you say pretty, you got to say pretty. The Pretty Things. And so many bands. And I was just like 14 years old or something. Oh, it was exciting because it was moving so fast. And then when I was 16, I went to see Jimi Hendrix for the first time. And that was life-changing. But everything was so exciting.
There were so many bands, progressive blues movement, Jethro Tull.
If you say Jethro, you say Jeffro.
Jethro Tull, Bloodwind Pig, 10 years after, Taste Free. I mean, it was endless. But obviously, me being and thinking the way that I was in my mind, I was always into kind of moody, darker. That's why I like the Rolling Stones early on, because they were kind of eclectic and kind of dark looking in the early days when you used to see them, but it was exciting times.
I thought when they were younger they looked more clean cut. Like the Beatles did, so did the Rolling Stones. They all had to have their little outfits on so they could go on that Ed Sullivan. They wouldn't let no dirties on there till the Doors. The Doors ruined it, right?
Downing indeed added, Mr. K.K. Kenneth Downing did indeed add, he says, the evolution of what happened between the late 60s, especially the mid-70s. Well, you got the Scorps, UFO, Black Sabbath. There were so many other ingredients coming into play that wasn't blues. Wasn't particularly progressive blues. But there was another different style which I was attracted to, which is more kind of a riff-oriented kind of a rock songs, as opposed to the 12 bars or something of the blues-based. Because so many great bands were very much blues-based, progressive, hence progressive blues like Fleetwood Mac. What Shane brought up, Stevie Nicks, she was the lead singer, one of the lead singers. It's so many bands that I mentioned. But was to become, eventually, heavy metal. Was actually there. It was prevalent in bands like Judas Priest, definitely Black Sabbath, and some other bands. These ingredients were there, but the great Jimi Hendrix, whom I told you just a scant few seconds ago, whom I'd seen live, had some heavy metal in there, Purple Haze and Foxy Lady. I mean, those songs.
Isn't that other one too? Excuse me, when I kiss the sky. Is that Purple Haze? Doo doo boom. Yeah, it is. Because that's a heavy metal tune.
I mean, don't I know it? I mean, those songs, they were cutting edge, as far as I was concerned.
Ken, if you don't mind me calling you Ken, I'd agree with you. I think most rock magazines at the time would have probably said that Jimi Hendrix is pretty cutting edge. So I think you are in good company there with your opinions on that, Ken. Back in May 2021, Downing picked Hendrix as his rock god.
No, Rob is me metal god, but Hendrix is me rock god. During an appearance on the BBC's The Rock Show with Johnny Walker. And stated about his choice, I first saw Jimmy at Coventry Theatre way back in 1967. And what an amazing night that was. I even got laid the first time. I was lucky enough to see Jimmy no less than 6 times in me life, including his 2 appearances at Royal Albert Hall in February 1969. And yes, I was out there at the stage door, autograph hunting. I was really lucky. Jimmy arrived, and I managed to get his bleeding bloody autograph, which was a real treat for me. I absolutely must tell the story about the Isle of Wight Festival where Jimmy was performing in August 1970. Myself and a friend cunningly worked our way back to the dressing room area, which was outside, but Jimmy, Noel and Mitch were in a caravan, and they were using for a dressing room. And me and my friend, we hinged up the window up, and they were there. And there they were, the 3 of them, Jimi Hendrix, bleeding bloody experience, around a table with a couple of ladies.
Oh, I see the word cocaine, coke.
Well, let me tell you what we done did. We wrenched that window open, we climbed on through. Jimi Hendrix Experience, he was sitting there with a couple of ladies, and myself and my mate. We managed to get a drumstick from Mitch and a Coke bottle that Jimmy had just finished drinking a beverage from. And that was a real highlight of me whole life.
Now, I heard a rumor about Jimi Hendrix. Did I see it? See, I've already turned a few shades of red. Can you see that? Can you see that? Is this the life that we're supposed to have? I don't think so. Oh, before I forget, I do want to mention some things that I've watched that I absolutely enjoyed. Concerts and such and stuff. Boy, oh boy, and you got to go watch this interview. It's with Rob's Metalworks or something, and it's Billy Milano. And it's an hour and a half long. It's probably 10 days old. And he shreds Scott Ian and Charlie Benante. Shreds them to bits and pieces. And he's just going at anybody he feels like. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I ended up watching MOD live in recent concert in Rome. And man, oh man, that band is tight as a whip. He has one hell of a band going right now. I'm having a hard time looking at myself. I'm bright red. But it is the summer months. It is going to get worse. I will look like a canned ham by the end of summer. You'll be begging me to go, I don't know. He continued. So he got that Coke can from Jimi Hendrix. And you know they sucked off the last little bit of it. You know, if I could ask Kenny anything, I'd say, Ken, either you or your buddy went and took it. You shook the can. Number one, you got the can. You looked at the can. You said, and Jimi Hendrix just had a sandwich with this. Now we're holding the can that he had his sandwich with. But you know, then you went, still some in it. And one of you or your friend said, drink it, dude. You'll have Jimi Hendrix in you. And you did it, okay? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I probably would have done the exact same thing. But I'd like you to come clean, Kenneth, if you can do that. Put it in the comments. He continued, Jimmy could absolutely stir an audience into a complete frenzy. They would jump up from the balconies and they would rush the stage. And I know, because I was one of those fans that did just that. I wish this interviewer would say, did you drink the stuff that was inside that can? Pardons. Wildly recognized, I was thinking of pardons when I said pardon. Widely recognized as one of the most creative musicians of all time, Hendrix's influence with genre-defying mix of blues, funk, and soul jazz and R&B still impacts musicians worldwide to this day. Hendrix pioneered the explosive possibilities of the electric guitar. He made love to that guitar, deeply and good, lighting it on fire and playing it with his tongue. His innovative style of combining fuzz, feedback, and controlled distortion created a new musical form, and his influence resonates to this day. Mr. Sir Jimi the Jim Man Hendrix died of a drug overdose on September 18, 1970, at the age of 27. Hendrix's 1968 album, Electric Ladyland, hit #1 on the Billboard Top 200 charts. And that's all we're going to go on about that. Max Cavalera, he'd come in and say, hey, guy, why you not doing no stories with me? Why you not doing no stories with me? You're seeing this Soulfly 13th studio album. He's very proud of the record. Soulfly's 13th studio album. Now, look at the man. This is a man. Oh, he's got a, he might have a dread or two, but he's kind of says, I go curly guy. I don't do dreadlocks. I want to do the curly guy. Almost looks a little bit like Ascended Master Yeshua, doesn't he? A little bit. He's very proud of this record. Now, if you're around here long enough, yes, indeed, you know that I hyperextended my legs in the Soulfly mosh pit at 40-something years old when I thought I still had it. I didn't have it. I was only in there for, I'm going to say, less than 4 seconds. And then I was dragged out, and my leg hurt for probably about 13 weeks. So 13 studio albums, 13 weeks. Max Cavalera, he's going to talk about his new album. And you know he's going to say it. He's going to tell it to you. In a new interview with MetalUnderground.com, /Soulfly frontman Max Cavalera spoke about his plans for the band's follow-up to 2022's Totem. He said his transcribed,
Well, you listen to me. We're working on the new record right now. It's going good, man. We're taking our time to do it right. We are in the process of finishing the record right now. And then we're going to start to getting the stuff in the mixing and finding the songs that are going to go on all of the socials, the social media. It's the place where you tell all the people about the songs of the social medias. And Spotify and all that jive. But yes, I'm very proud of this record. It's a good one.
I mean, Soulfly puts out good music, yes. Regarding the music direction of the new Soulfly material, oh, this will be interesting. Max says,
the record it's cool. It feels to me like has the adventurous spirit of the first record, like 1998 Soulfly. Sonically, it's pretty different for the first record. It's more intricate and maybe even heavier grooves. But in terms of spirit and attitude, it's similar to the first record, which I think is good that I got to figure out a way to put my mind back at that time. And what made me create a record and use it again on the new record. I went back in my mind and I said, where is the memories? But then my mind would tell me, Cavalera, Maxi, here is the memories, and now I have them for the new album.
Where Am I?
It's similar to the first record, which I think it's cool. It's pretty fun. It's kind of hard to do. But I think it was exciting thing to tackle. It was kind of like, let's try to do this. Let's see if we can use your first album as somehow some kind of inspiration for your 13th album. And that was great, man. I love it. I love that kind of vibe that the record has. That's the cool thing about this record. It's kind of, in a way, return to what me and fans of Soulfly fell in love with Soulfly for.
I didn't fall in love with you after you hurt my legs, Max. Now, I'm not blaming it specifically on you, and no, I didn't take any legalities out on the club or you, so don't worry about that. I'm not like that. But it hurt for 13 weeks, Max.
And then I thought throughout the years, many of the other records had a lot of different vibes in it. I said, wait a minute. Some of them went more trashy with stuff like Dark Ages, 2005, and Omen, 2010, and Conquer, 2008.
You got to do 2005, 2008, 2010, Max, please.
So, to me, making a record that sonically is inspired by the first thing you did as a band was a challenge. There's a challenge in that, because it's easier said than done. Because I don't want to just copy the first record either. Don't get that kind of an ideas into your skull. There's no point in doing that. I'm just using it as an inspiration. It's really just a full of metal inspiration, really. The songs themselves, they're gonna have their own personalities and their own vibe. But yeah, it's coming out quite interesting, I have to tell you. I'm excited to hear what the fans are gonna think about this one. Asked about a possible release date for that new Soulfly album, Max said, right now I think we're looking at October. October. Now that's what they're talking about. The people that do that, the businessman with their business case and their Bluetooth, that's what they're talking about. They said, maybe October we can do it. That's what they're talking about. And we do have a European tour that starts in June. It goes from June to late July. We are going to be playing 1 or 2 songs of the new record on that tour. Oh my goodness, you cannot wait, which I think is great. Anytime I had a chance to do that, it's been great and cool. I remember playing Primitive, title track from Soulfly's second album, which came out in 2000, on the first tour. First record tour, because I wrote Primitive at the same time I wrote the first Soulfly record. I just couldn't fit in. I couldn't put that song in there. There was too many songs. And I was like, oh, alright, fuck it. Shit. I don't need another song on this record. But then my mindset about it, you can play it live. You can. If you want to play it live, you can still play it live. You don't have to put it on the album. It live before the Primitive record came out. So the people got a taste for the second record coming up. So it's kind of similar kind of things. People get a taste of the album a little bit before. Especially this days and age. With the internet and social media, people are going to get it on YouTube. They're going to watch it. And they're going to feel the record before October. At least. Very good, very good. This past April, Soulfly parted ways with the band's longtime bassist, Mike Leon. Leon, formerly of Havoc, joined Soulfly in September 2005 as the replacement for Static X's bassist, Tony Campos, who left Soulfly in May of that year. Are you guys wondering about Totem, that rock and roll record from Soulfly? Well, Totem came out in August 2022 via Nuclear Blast Records. The follow-up to 2018's Ritual was recorded at Platinum Underground in Mesa, Arizona. We'll leave it there, but I do want to say another story we're going to be touching on very quickly is Morris Sound, a.k.a. Tampa, Florida's death metal studio. If you're into death metal, you know the name Morris Sound. They got a plaque. And I can't read what's on the damn plaque, so I've got the story so I can read what's on the damn plaque. And it'll have a list of all the bands that recorded there at Morris Sound. That's coming up as well. Just more gifts and treats, really. Here's Ian Gillan, you see that. But I wanted to tell you another thing that I watched that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think it's like about 7 days old too. Cattle Decapitation do a in the studio kind of recording thing. It's very well done. It's about 2 hours long. And it's really good. And it's showing them in the studio working on the album. And I just realized to myself, I could watch that shit all day long. Like really good cut together documentary kind of style things on bands in the studio working on albums. Because that one I watched on Opeth was wonderful too. Off the latest record that they did. Another thing that I watched, and it's on YouTube, you can go watch it, and watch how goony this guy is. Rob Zombie, you ever hear of him? He goes, yeah, dig through your ditches and burn through them britches and slam in the back of my... But it's that MTV Backyard Shenanigan Fest.
Okay, it's that White Zombie. Somebody wins a contest on MTV back in the 90s. White Zombie comes and plays at your house, and I'm telling you, Rob Zombie in that thing is just so irritating. I could see where he was not very pleasant to be around. And I think John Tempesta's on the drums. It sounded really good. Sean Yseults is there. But they do about 5 songs, but it's the in between the songs that you got to watch, because he's no kind of, at least at that time, and I think he just bitches at everyone now. I'm pretty sure this week Rob Zombie stopped the show to yell at people for using their phones or whatever. But on this thing, this 1980s thing, you can really watch him where he doesn't have any charisma whatsoever. He's waiting for them to kick the songs up, but they got to wait for the beat to start, because they got that, all that, more human than, So they got to wait for all that shit to roll before they go, boom, 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 boom. They're playing to a click track. They're playing to tracks, even back then. But the instruments are live, but they still have that background thing. Anyways, you got to watch the stuff in between, because he acts like he does not want to be there. And if you're at this kid wins your thing, you shouldn't do it begrudgingly. You should go, "Where's little Tim Tim? Get him up here." You're more human than human. Be nice to him. Rob, you really act like you're put out. And I'll tell you something right now. You want to know something? I'll tell you something right now. Now, I do like Rob Zombie, and I'll tell you this right now. But I'm going to tell you something. I used to have a website. And it was a music website. Way back in the day, 2005, 2006 or something. And I admit I wasn't the greatest interviewer, but I got a hold of whoever the hell it was. And I couldn't do a phone interview, and I couldn't do this, but what I could do is I could send the email questions, and he would answer them. So it would be a written interview for my website. Every single answer he sent back was yes and no's. Yes, no. And maybe as I thought about it later on, I thought, well, maybe I just didn't do a very good job of leading those questions to where you don't just answer with a yes or a no. But still, he could have realized I'm a goddamn dumb son of a bitch and go, well, maybe he's not, maybe he's not a damn journalist for the Wall Street Journal over here, okay? He's just a little schmuck with a little website. Rob. Now, do you remember what I talked about when I said the compliment sandwich? When you're going to give it to someone, right? You're gonna tell them what you really think about them. You got to start with something good, come in hard, and then end with something good. So I'm ending with something good, and you can figure out what the good part was before I launched into that little thing, okay? The good part is when I saw those guys live, it was the most packed I had ever seen that venue ever. There was people parked out on the freeway. And it was a damn good show, even though it was the one where he didn't dress up. He just looked like an old hippie. It was the Educated Horse tour where he left all the good stuff at home. And I walked into the concert wanting to see all the good stuff, so I was doing this with my eyes and looking around, and it was just a blank stage, and I went, oh, okay. Well, let's get into this. Ian Gillan, he says, thank God. He says, oh, Bladen, how thank God they're going to remix Black Sabbath's Born Again. That's the album that Ian Gillan performs on. And I don't think it's bad. I mean, it's not the best sounding thing, but I like Ian Gillan. I'm a huge fan of Ian Gillan, okay? I like him. I like him with all the stuff that I do know of Deep Purple. I like him as a person. I like him, with Sabbath. I actually saw, when I was a very young boy, and I've mentioned this somewhere before, but there was a concert on MTV, which was, I want to say it was Rat, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and somebody else. It was a very bizarre concert. And so the first time I saw Black Sabbath on any kind of a playing live, it was with Ian Gillan. He had that long-ass hair. And I said, that's the damn devil right there.
Ian Gillan says, thank God, in a new interview with Igor Miranda of Rolling Stone Brazil. Ian Gillan spoke about Tony Iommi's plans to remix Black Sabbath's Born Again album for future release. Issued in August 1983, Born Again was the only album Sabbath recorded with Gillan. Best known for his work as the singer with Deep Purple, it was also the last of Sabbath's studio albums that featured drummer Bill Ward. Ian, he told Rolling Stone Brazil, I think the songs on Born Again are great. I just thought it was ridiculous. The mix was outrageous. All you could hear, if you ever saw the movie This Is Spinal Tap, then the story of the Born Again, then the story of Born Again, the bass level was so high, they couldn't play it on the radio. So, they're going to remix it. Tony has done, he has texted me and told me so. It's a bit late, but yeah, probably for aficionados or collectors or whatever. I don't know. But there are some songs on there that I really, really think are great.
Sweet Lucy was a dancer, but none of us could chance her because she was a samurai.
Ian Gillan, he's good. It's always a joy to write with Tony. Well, I call him Tony because it's his first name, but we're on a first name basis, me and him. Well, he calls me Ian, and I call him Tony. And we certainly had some fun making the record. It was quite a fantastic time, and I enjoyed the tour. It was the longest party I've ever been to. It lasted 1 year. I think the album is actually great. I always thought we always recognized the fact that Ozzy Osbourne's a singer of Black Sabbath, and people identify with that. So it was kind of weird, hybrid kind of situation, but all in all, thank God they're gonna remix it. Who do I see? Peekaboo eyes. Who do I see? Guys, who's that? Back in May 2024, Mr. Iommi told Sirius XM's Trunk Nation with Eddie the Junk and the Trunk Man about what is taking so long for fans.
What? Now, Tony, I'm glad I've got you here, and I am glad that we're on a first name basis as well, because I gladly told you can call me Mr. Eddie or Eddie, and you in return have said that I can call you Tony, so I'm going to just say that. Why is it taking so long for the fans to hear a remix version of Born Again?
Tony says, well, eventually we got the tapes, but we couldn't find them for years. We didn't know where they were. And my fucking manager, located somebody, and they were in a record company's in the archives, tucked away somewhere in one of the record companies.
Tony, I need you to speak better. Or maybe I'm doing it all wrong.
I don't know how they got them. What they did. And so eventually we got them. And then we had them. They had them, then we got them. Now we have them. And we are having them transferred. Because obviously it's tape. And so we're having them transferred so we can have a look at that. And that's a sort of plans as well. I'd like to do that, now that I think about it, on your fine podcast, Mr. Eddie Trunkman. And I know Ian would like that to happen as well. Well, Geezer Butler, Sabbath bassist, would as well, I'm sure. Iommi went on to say that a lot of Sabbath fans have rediscovered Born Again in the 4 decades since it was originally released. Yes, it's funny. That does happen, he said. It's the same as the Tony Martin era Black Sabbath stuff as well. It's true, isn't it? Because I'm finding it. I heard this song from that era where I went, God damn, that's a banger. And then I looked and I said, holy shit, that's Black Sabbath. Oh, yes, it's good. And that's what happened with Born Again a little bit. It's funny how that works. Later on, a new generation come in, and the people get to hear, the original fans will hear it and go, oh, yeah, I forgot about that record. It is funny how it all works. But it's great. It's great that it does. And that's why I'd like to present that again. Have a look at that. See, this is one record where I feel like, okay, that and that Misfits record that was just awful sounding. There's a few that I'm like, okay, a remix or a remix and remaster, fine. You know, I'd like to hear Born Again again. Wouldn't you agree? You have no interest in it. I mean, you can tell me, you can say, yeah, Shane, I don't give a shit about Black Sabbath at all. But a lot of people accepted the sound, really, certainly now. At the time, it was, oh my God, because we went on tour, left it to somebody else, and when we heard it, well, we nearly had a fit. It was in the top. I think it was number 4 on the charts in England at the time, and we tried to stop it, but it was too late. By the time we heard it, it just sounded really muffly. It was nothing like when we left, before we went on tour. So it'd be nice to get it so we can get a better sound on it. Really, Mr. Eddie. There really are some great songs. Oh, I know it. Who's Eddie a fan of? Why do I want to say he's a Ronnie James Dio man? Speaking of Ronnie James Dio, this would be a great segue for me to stop reading this story and start on Wendy Dio, because we got her right here. We're not going to hear what Iommi previously said, but okay, yep. Those are the eyes of a man that says, hey, mister, what the fuck you doing in me backyard, pal? You don't know who you're messing with. I'd like you to kindly steal those golf clubs. What you're going to do, get back over that fence. Because you're about to get an ass whipping like you've never had in your life. It's the eyes of this man. You think you put hands on this man? You think you got the stones? Even at his age right now, if this face is looking at you right now and you're going, hey, Pops, give me your wallet. You think this fucking guy's going to give you his wallet? Just keep walking. Wendy Dio, then we're going to get into that more a sound thing than your comments. Look at her. She says, bye. God, why did I kill that man? I didn't mean to. I'm not saying Mr. Ronnie James Dio, the love of my heart. Let me tell you about a wide-eyed young little fella who saw Ronnie James Dio purchased his ticket for probably a solid $25 GA to see him on the Dream Evil tour with one Megadeth opening up on the So Far So Good So What tour. 2 bands. That's it. And that dude blew my socks off. And then I saw the Ron Man once again on the Lock Up the Wolves tour, and it was Love Hate that was opening for him. And it was in a small venue. And I was like, what the fuck happened? This guy was on top of the world. Well, Wendy says she was with Lemmy. Rest in peace, dear sweet sir. Is he one of my spirit angels? Yes, probably. All of them are. Remember when I told you that? If I got spirit angels, they're every kick-ass rock star. Cliff Burton, all of them. David Bowie, all of them. They're chilling with me. She saw him 2 hours before he passed.
and this is kind of a downer, so we're hoping this isn't too down. During an appearance on last episode of Rock Tales with Amit Zappa, that's the Zappa boy, Frank Zappa's son, podcast, Wendy Dio, widow and longtime manager of Ronnie James Dio, reflected on the friendship between the iconic heavy metal singer and a couple of other rock legends. She said, as transcribed, Ronnie and Judas Priest singer Rob Halford and Motorhead frontman Lemmy, you know him? His name's Ian Kilmister. I always called him Ian. Were very similar people. They chose their friends very carefully. They were just really, really cool people that loved to hang out and loved each other in a lot of different ways. Very much so. And they said, as I said, truly loved each other. And Rob still is amazing. He keeps in touch with me all the time. He does whatever he can for our charity. Oh, when he's out here, we go out and meet up and stuff. We just have a damn good time together, and he's just a sweetheart. He's a little picklehead. I call him my little Pookie doll. I actually gave one of Ronnie's rings to Rob. Wendy also spoke about the last time she saw Lemmy, who celebrated his 70th birthday on December 24th, 2015. Learned 2 days later that he was afflicted with an aggressive form of the C and died 2 days later on December 28, 2015 at his home in Los Angeles, California. I saw Lemmy 2 hours before he passed on. Todd Singerman, are you familiar with that name? Todd Singerman. His manager called me and said he's not feeling good. He hadn't been well for a while, and he's just come off the road like about 4 months before. Ronnie's doctor, Sandy Kapoor, was his doctor too. Well, then what's going on here? 2 late catches. Todd said, can you bring Sandy over? Because he's not feeling good. Who's Sandy? So we went over there, and he was talking away, and his birthday was earlier in December, and this was a couple of days later. I bought him some old German books that I found that he was very into, and these were old antique books that I found, which means she got them at a thrift mart for about $4. They were war books. And he thanked me. Oh, Wendy, thank you for my war books. And we sat and talked for a while, and his girlfriend, that's Sandy, and his girlfriend was there, and he said, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to lay down. Oh, he laid down, I left. I went to the mall. I was walking around the mall. I went into Contempo, and, I got me a cookie at, what was that cookie place called? Little Debbie's or whatever. And then I went over and got a hot dog on a stick from those fun people in the hats. Remember they have those big hats that are like that? But I was at the mall, and Todd called me and said, Lemmy's just passed. I couldn't believe it. I walked around in circles. I didn't know. It was just unbelievable. I was just talking to him like 2 hours before. It was horrible. When host, and now Amit Zappa, his father was wonderful and an extremely intelligent man. And he sang songs like Ram It, Ram It, Ram It, Your Poop Shoot. His son's going to hit her with a very good question. He's not going to strike her. He's just going to lay down a very good question here. When host Amit Zappa noted that Lemmy was very friendly guy, despite sometimes appearing unapproachable, when he said, he was very introverted. So was Geezer Butler, by Black Sabbath's bass player. They're introverted people. They're lovely people, but they really are kind of introverted. But when you know them, they're just sweet, wonderful people. I did see this tour that they canceled with Motorhead. Motorhead had to cancel a number of shows in 2015 because of Lemmy's poor health. Although the band did manage to complete a European tour
a couple of weeks before his death. In June 2020, it was announced that Lemmy would get the biopic treatment. The upcoming film Lemmy will be directed by Greg Oliver, who previously helmed the 2010 documentary of the same name, Lemmy. And I have seen that documentary, and it was pretty good. There's our Wendy. She says, hello. We're getting on to this. Are you familiar with Morris Sound, everybody? Death metal bands, Florida. Okay, you've got that Florida thing. Where did death metal start? Did it start with Possessed in California, in the Bay Area, or did it start with Death, the band Death, of Chuck Schuldiner in Florida, Tampa, Florida, I think. You got Morbid Angel come from there, DSI come from there, all these bands. And they all went to Morris Sound, I do believe. And it may have just become that, right? Where if you're in a death metal band at that time and you get these good recordings out of Morris Sound and then you go over to some other place, they're like, dude, you're not real death metal then. You didn't go to Morris Sound. So guys, you can see right here, yeah, and a bright red. Beat like a beat. You can see right here, I can't read that. It's on there. Can I read that? From the early 1980s, Morris Sound recorded. So they're going to have that paragraph in this story. That's something that I've done for you. And it says watch, so maybe there's a video too. On Friday, May 16th, the original location of the legendary Tampa, Florida area recording studio Morris Sound recording in Temple Terrace, which had been used by countless metal bands over the years, including Sepultura, Death, Iced Earth, Deicide, Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, and a Malevolent Creation, received a historic marker from Hillsborough County, Florida. The studio was honored, I was going to say honed. See, you know me not to be a liar, right? Because I was going to say honed, it's honored. The studio was honored with a plaque to acknowledge its contributions to the music industry. A reception followed at Magnanimous Brewing in Seminole Heights. Just a short drive. A brewing company, just a short drive from Morris Sound's new location at 8003 North 9th Street in Sulphur Springs. You got to put your studio there. Sulphur Springs. 2 separate video reports from both events are now available below, courtesy of the Drinkin' with Drew show and the MFTS-TV ABC Action News. Among other musicians who attended the festivities were John Oliva, Savatage, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Nasty, from Nasty Savage, Ronnie Galletti, David Austin from Nasty Savage, Jeff Lords from Crimson Glory, and Paul Merkavitz, Cannibal Corpse. At least it wasn't that other fella. You know, all the kids know him by that other name now. Corpse Grinder? Now he doesn't. They don't know him by Corpse Grinder. They call him Bloodcock Man. And I know because I'm on TikTok. I see it, and they say, and everyone reposts him saying that shit. You know, for "I Come Blood," that song, the last song that they play. And he says the same thing every night. Here's a fun little ditty. Rodney Kite Powell of the Tampa Bay History Center told WFTS-TV, I will say this is the only time I've written a marker with the words death so many times. Because the marker itself is for particularly Morris Sound. Morris Sound's work in the extreme metal or death metal industry. According to the Tampa Bay Times, more than 150 historical markers are scattered around Hillsborough County, all approved by the county commission. It's good. You get the right permissions. green in color, and they are approved and maintained by the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council and paid for by the applicant. At its peak, the facility, founded and run by brothers Tom and Jim Morris, had acoustic properties and equipment that rivaled the major New York and Los Angeles studios used by major label acts. Morris Sound had been in the business since 1981 and has recorded virtually every style of music from quiet string ensembles to heavy rock, with everything between, including jazz, country, gospel, bluegrass, folk, rap, hip-hop, punk, funk, R&B, and death metal, just to name a few. No sane person decides to open a recording studio to get rich or famous. That's in quotes, and that's from Tom Morris himself. Where is the plaque? I want to know what it says on the plaque. We have worked our entire careers to help the artists we've recorded achieve their creative vision. This marker is an acknowledgement of those efforts, along with those of our staff and the many dedicated artists that came through our door in the 1980s and the 90s. It was the artists' visions and our execution that led to the rise of a new musical genre in Tampa Bay and the world. We are very proud that this groundbreaking work has been recognized by the county with this marker. We need to figure out how to get rich or famous. Now we need to figure out how to get rich and famous. What does it say on there? See, here they are, guys. You want to see these noodle heads in here? Don't give me any grief over this, man.
This is Robert Boyd in Temple Terrace, which is known around the world by music fans as the birthplace of death metal, right here at the original Morris Sound Recording Studios. And this month, it was honored with a plaque by the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council.
Is Robert going to read it to us?
I will say, this was the only time I've written a marker with the word death so many times, because the marker itself is for particularly Morris Sound's work in the extreme metal or death metal industry.
It is great, though, to be able to have a marker like this.
Rodney Kite-Pow with the Tampa Bay History Center says out of the hundreds of historic markers across Hillsborough County, this is the only one dedicated
It's his favorite
recording studio.
We still get fans from all over the world that come to see the studio.
Jesus. They're twins? He's the quiet one. He's over there at the mixing board. This guy's nodding. Yep. What do you think of that mix of I Come Blood, huh? How's that coming along for you? He says, oh, loving it. I was going to say something rude, but I'm not going to say rude things anymore. I've decided. I was just going to say something about right in the eyes there. It looks like Friday the 13th, Part 4, of course. That would be the one with Corey Feldman in it as a young child. But now I'm thinking 3, when the mask comes off. But that's time. It's time to get on to your comments, by God. I don't know how this whole thing's happening to me today. But I feel like I'm losing it. Now, I'm going to tell you this, too. I had some finagling to do because Miss Althea was missing again. And the other issue that I had to try and figure out is Miss Althea was missing, and Mike Buchanan, yours cut off right here where my little nipple is rubbing. I don't know if I'm even in the way of it, but it was giving me the dots on you. So I had to open up all the comments. That's when I saw that guy that called me a wiener. And then I had to hit the new after I opened them all up. And then, indeed, Miss Althea arrived. I'm not the guy in charge of YouTube. They don't like me. They're afraid to give me power. They don't want me to be the figurehead of the entire platform. Why would they want that? Mr. Beast is the king of the platform, not me. They don't want me. You don't think I can be as good as Mr. Beast? YouTube? You don't think so? Give me a shot. Take me up to that front page. Mr. Beast, I say, what do you want to do? I'm 52, man. Come at me. What are you, 30? No. These hands will never be raised in violence. Do you understand me? I will defend myself. But they will never be raised in violence. Let's get into your comments. Yes, indeed, it's that time. And I'm feeling good so far, but I feel like every time I talk about it, this is when I got to start going. So, Johnny B coming in here. He says, oh boy, I've completely lost track of the week and didn't prepare a comment at all. I promise to come back next week in full force, hard and heavy rockin' and a chock full of crazy UFO orb stories. But I will say, the Dre Man's endearing proposal to his beloved was below subpar. It wasn't the best proposal, was it? I mean, did Taylor Swift finally ask her man on stage? I mean, I feel like, he really could have done a better job with that. But Johnny B says, I'm sorry, but the man grates on my nerves with his baggy pants and his holier-than-thou air about him. It gets to me. But I'm over it now. Ha ha. Awesome podcast, Shane Reno. Loved it as always. Until next week, keep looking up, keep asking questions, and keep the fires burning. P.S. I want to say something about commenting here. A few weeks back, you said, don't comment because it's a job. Don't be pressured to comment. Correct. Or something along those lines. I can't speak for others, but for me personally, I comment because I want to, and I love being part of the podcast. You have something very cool going on. Telling you. YouTube say, you know what they do? My shit pops up. It's too good. He's too damn good. We can't have this. I know it's an entertainment platform. I know, but he's too good. What do I got to sit in a tub full of goddamn rubber balls or something for you to throw my videos up? Anyways, I comment because he wants to, because he likes it. You have a good thing going on at it, and you're good at it. We'll read that line again. You have something very cool going on, and you're very good at it, too. Nothing but love, Shane. All right, thank you. And again, comments that are chock full of compliments, I'm a sucker for those. Big Tone, I got worried there. I'm not going to lie. See, this guy called me a wiener. Hold on a second. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't you worry about it. Big Tone. Hey, very enjoyable podcast. The word is out about Shane Diablo Show, the only exclusive to true rock and roll reaction channel. I'd like to urge all of you Diablicals to make comments on the other channels about Shane's channel. Hey, and Jive Talkin. Let's get to our goal of 100K. I love this guy. I would take the effort as a personal favor, and that I would not forget. Oh, I've been receiving a lot of positive feedback from others that I've been chatting up, and they've subscribed and are urging others to do so. Well, you're not missionaries or anything. I mean, don't go out there and be haranguing people or anything like that. I mean, but in a good, 30 or 40 times in every Metallica video would be fine. As for today's cast from Big Tone, he says, I've always liked Tracy. We're missing an eye. Did you do that on purpose? He's a stand-up guy and can play with the best of them. Others might still hold a grudge against him, but yeah, against Het, but not Tracy. He realizes that Het was drinking back then, and that was a long time ago. I'm sure they're cool whenever they cross paths now. Yeah. Well, you know, James, I mean, what do they call that? Alcohol. It's like the truth magnet or whatever, you know, or the, you know, it frees your spirit. You know, you just say things you probably wouldn't regularly say is what I'm trying to get at. Big Tone says, Alice going full circle will be really cool to hear. He's talking about the new Alice Cooper record that will be coming out that has the former old original members on it. I saw him a few years ago with Nita Strauss, and I think she's back in the band now, playing lead, and it was great. The guy's a true performer. And one that I have never seen live. I have watched several concerts. And one of my all-time favorite records growing up as a kid was Alice Cooper Show. And I love the Dead on that because you can hear him get his head chopped off, and you can hear people in the audience go, "Oh!" If you've never heard that, go listen to it. The Alice Cooper Show, old live record, great. Big Tone says, I never got into King Diamond, but hey, rock on with it. Congratulations on the Dre, man. I hope it lasts a lifetime. You want the tender lover that you marry, you want it to last a lifetime. You don't go into the wedding, unless you're after money, you don't go into it thinking that it's going to be 2 or 3 years. But they don't really get to know people, you know? They jump into it. They get the house together. They move in together right away, you know, and then they just get straight to the marriage. You got to live a good year, you know, because men can put up a good fake for a long time. You'd be surprised at how long we can fake it. Fake like, oh no, this is who I am. And then as soon as that ring goes on, it's, I ain't taking the trash out. You do it. You got 2 legs. I'm just saying. That's not me at all, but that is, you know, that does happen. Big Tone says, well wishes to everyone, and as always, keep them coming, brother. We got the heavy metal emoticon. We got the 2 fists facing each other with the kapow pop in the middle. We're missing the hashtag, but we got the sentiment. Get Shane to 100K. You guys might all be getting the thumbs today here. Mike Buchanan, he's got his goodies here. I don't know if this podcast is fast or slow. Because sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'm like, holy shit, that was almost 2 hours long. And other times I'm like, this seems to be flying by. Do you ever feel that way with my podcast? Mike Buchanan, the 69er, coming in here. Was I going to tell you about something else that I watched? We'll get to Mike here. Shane, have you figured out that I sometimes sneak lyrics to songs in my posts just to get you to sing and go off topic? Yes. I love it. Keep it up. On this week's movies that are bad, but we love them anyways, Jaws. You're gonna need a bigger boat. It is a classic. Before he gets into it, oh, and it's the 50th anniversary. But you sit down and you watch Jaws, and every single shot of that film is panoramically beautiful. And he's going to say, before I get into it, here we go. Mike Buchanan's Jaws, the 50th anniversary. Before I get into my review, a little backstory. Movie theaters used to release movies back in the day. This was long before VHS, DVD, or streaming, yes, just to make a few more dollars out of the films. One day, little Mikey was playing in his front yard. Hey, what are you doing over there? You know, some little kids coming up and Bobby say, you want to go see Jaws? When his mom poked her head out of the door and asked if I wanted to go see a movie. This would have been 78, 79. time frame. And little Mikey was either 8 or 9 at the time. Well, off to the movies I go, all super excited. I sit down and drink with a drink of my choice and a popcorn in hand. Your mom was nice. She got you the goodies. My mother just put it in her purse. You know, literal cans of Coke or whatever. Just cough when you pop it. You know, come on, get me the popcorn. The movie starts, and I hear that infamous music start up. There's this girl out swimming. The music starts to build up louder, faster. The girl is still swimming, louder, faster, louder, faster. The girl is now screaming. There's blood everywhere. Blood everywhere. Popcorn goes flying. Drink almost spills. Little Mikey now has his head buried in Mom's lap. And to this day, I still swear my mom was laughing. She denies this, of course. And on to not your traditional movie review. Okay. Before we get into his movie review, I'll say this about that kind of a situation that happened with Mama Diablo. She took us to a small town for whatever bizarre reason. I think my grandparents lived there. They only had 2 theaters. In the middle of the day, she took us to Poltergeist and was dragging us out the door by the time the clown. That had me. The clown under the bed, it was over. And then guess what? And right on cue, what do you think Mama Diablo got me for Christmas that year? She got me it had a monocle, and it was a ventriloquist dummy with a top hat and a monocle and a string you pulled in the back. And here's exactly what I did with it. I instantly took it downstairs to my room, put a knife in it, and left it there, and never touched it again. Let's get into his movie review for Jaws' 50th anniversary. Needs more therapy, less beach, in quotes. Jaws is the heartwarming story of a misunderstood fish who just wanted a nibble and accidentally became the poster child for beach-related traumas. Our protagonist, Bruce the Shark, played brilliantly by a mechanical prop with stage fright, just wants a bite of summer fun. Maybe a leg here, a sailor there, but everyone freaks out and sends a grumpy police chief, a nerdy marine biologist, and a sea captain with a death wish to harsh his vibe. Sure, people die, but honestly, have you seen how crowded the beach was? Bruce was doing us a favor, quite frankly. Steven Spielberg clearly knew the formula of suspense. Play ominous music, show no actual shark for 90% of the movie, and let our imaginations do the rest. And by imagination, I mean we all spent the next decade refusing to swim in pools, bathtubs, or stand near puddles. And you're not wrong about that. Every damn pool I was in. It could be the rec center with a kid pissing next to me. And I'm like, Jaws is right under my little legs. I'm floating around this water, my little legs are just doing this. And there's a Jaws under there. The real horror, question mark? The fashion. Those 1970 shorts were shorter than the shark's temper. In conclusion, Jaws taught us 3 things. 1, never trust the mayor. Number 2, don't go in the water. And number 3, if your vacation spot has a musical theme, just leave. Grab your favorite beverage, sit in your favorite chair, pop some popcorn, and press play if you dare. That was a damn poetic little version of that. Put that up on Lunchbox. Put that on Reddit. You should be doing something with movie reviewing. Don't let these half-asses. Do you ever look at those, Mike? Do you ever look at other reviews for movies and go, this guy sucks? This guy works for the New York Times. He sucks. I'm just asking. Mike Buchanan on Tracy Guns with 2 eyes. Sorry, bro, but I'm going to side with James on this one. Not a fan of the Contraband album. I guess the song, loud guitars, fast cars, wild, wild, wild livin' isn't terrible. Huh. Have we done Contraband? I vaguely want to say I've done a video from that. Mike Buchanan on Ricky the Rocket Man. Those little chipmunk cheeks. You remember them? That picture of him? Bit jaundiced, didn't he? Look, he looked like he was just like he had his wisdom teeth pulled or something. Whatever happened to Rocket Mafia? Or whatever the band is named. You're talking about the Rocket Mafia. Yeah. So Poison is hitting the summer fair tour circuit? So I can enjoy some Poison music while munching down on a foot-long corn dog? Woo! Okay, seriously. Good for them for still being able to tour. You know, Shane, I would love to see some videos of your ghost hunting. And I've never done it, actually. I've never, ever done it. But I've always been fascinated with that stuff, man. I watch it to this day. Pluto, the live channel that I just go to for humming noise in the background while I read lyrics on Spotify. Ghost Hunters. They got a channel that runs 24/7. I've always loved it. And I think that would be so fun if you went with the right people. Ghost hunting. I mean, who doesn't want to go chill out in the dark in an old prison for the night? Even a sleepover. It just sounds fun. Mike Buchanan on Alice Cooper. Dude, once again, from last Jive Talkin', I'm still not happy for not being able to attend Alice's show. Yes, due to family commitments. And what the what? Alice is 80? Well, I think so. He's close to it, isn't he? Like 78 something? Holy shit. I've heard a song off of that new Alice Cooper album. It's very good. Mike Buchanan on King Diamond. He's got a new record on the way. This is one band that has eluded me to see live. Still a bucket list. And it was, I mean, I only saw him 10 years ago. 6 years ago. And I'd wanted to see him all the way back, but to Them was the first album that I heard. See, I went Them. Did I have Don't Break the Oath? I started to move backwards. I went from King Diamond, Headbangers Ball to Merciful Fate. What? You know, and then, of course, there's always that older brother that was lifting weights, and he had Merciful Fate and Venom Records. There was always that older brother that he was just a little deeper into stuff. He had Hell Awaits. He had Show No Mercy, you know. I remember flipping that record, Show No Mercy, around. Is that the one that's got the 4 little pictures of the band? And Jeff Henneman's, they're wearing that black eyeliner, and he's holding an upside down cross with his guitar going, oh. And I just went, damn. I'm going, we're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. He's over there fucking pumping weights and listening to devil music. Oh, really? That's cute what you're listening to over there. My son be damned. What? Don't say nothing about your son. You just saw him in concert. This is one band that eluded me to see live. King Diamond, still a bucket list. And my son be damned. He's saying that in a funny way. That if he has anything else going, like he starts a band, and King Diamond comes to town, he's not going to that gig. I will skip anything family related if Mr. King comes to town. Okay, not really, but I can dream, right? Yeah. Because they'll never let it down if you go to the King Diamond concert for the rest of your life. Well, Daddy doesn't care. No, Daddy doesn't care. He likes King Diamond better than he likes his family. And now, it's time for the Jive Talkin' Jokes of the Week provided by one, Mike Buchanan. I used to be in a band called The Hinges. We opened for the Doors. What did the drummer call his twin daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2. That's pretty good. I was also in a band called Missing Cat. Maybe you've seen our flyer up all over town. Maybe you've seen our flyer up all over town. And again, guys, you know, I can't stand this. This is driving me batshit crazy. Do you see that? That dirty, you know, that scruff bothers me. And then when I got the nose hairs that I'm still trying to figure out, and that's tickling that. And so now they're both tickling. And so this is why I'm doing this. I'm not some kind of drug fiend. If anyone's thinking I'm a drug fiend, I'll pee in a glass right now. Show it to you. I don't do it. I'm just saying. This is why I keep doing this, because I got hair here and hair here. I should have shaved my face. Oh, and then my band, 1023MB, we still haven't had a gig. Is that megabytes? So you're just at the breaking point of hitting a gig. My band, 1035 megabytes, we still haven't had a gig. And finally, Jesus with the burping. And my final band was called Duvet. We were a cover band. I knew I was going to say that word right. I'll see myself out now. Very good, very good. Miss Althea coming in here, and then, well, let's get this fella out of the way. Born on the Matterhorn. Now, I'm going to see. I love you, no matter what. It's okay. No, 9 comments. Okay. All right. So he's been in. We got Arcade, Nothing to Lose, Tangiers. See what this is here? Extreme, Hold On to My Heart. Okay. So I don't believe this to be negatory. Born on the Matterhorn. It says Shane is a Spanish word which roughly translates to wiener. Not whiner, but weenie. I think you mean chane. Is that what you mean, chane? Because anytime I'm speaking with a Spanish American and they ask me my name, I say Shane. They always say chane or chane. I'm going to tell you a fun story. You want to know a fun story? I don't even know. I can't even remember the fella's name. But it was years ago. And he called me Chane. And he didn't speak much English, but me and him hit it off, and he would help me unload my truck at the end of the day. Miserable work. It's like, you know, my muscles are just to saying it. I got this muscle right here in my neck that runs down my shoulder, and it is just fucking killing me. But anyways, this guy, we was always unloading. Now I'm going to tell you how he got caught stealing. They opened up his locker and found a bunch of office supplies or something in his locker. He'd stolen them. But he was great, and I loved unloading my truck with him. But he would say, "My love, I love you, Chane. I love you. You my love." And I've never forgot him for that. And I wish I could remember his name. But I love you, you my love. Chane, and he would call me Chane. So that's why I'm saying weenie. Maybe he's saying, "Hey, you're my weenie. I love you. You're a weenie love. I love you." But I do not. I think Born on the Matterhorn's being a great person here. They're just informing me to the fact that my name Shane in Spanish means wiener. So you're getting a heart for that. Miss Althea, she's going to wrap this one up. Have a little sip of this, feeling good. We got no problems here today. I feel weird when I put my pinky out, but I can't help it. I wasn't born with a gold silver spoon in my mouth, but I was born with parents that said, "For God's sakes, put your pinky out when you're drinking." You look like a savage. Miss Althea coming in here, and here we go. The dumbstruck fool says, "Been there, done that with a monster adult zit." She's talking about the zit, the elephant in the room. And don't pop anything. It's too late for that. I suggest using a hydrocolloid blemish patch. They are small and transparent, barely detectable, and it will dissolve the damn thing within a couple of days. I recommend Welly brand. It's a good ad for Welly. I had an aunt that was like that. Don't pop them, don't pop them. But when they get that big goopy head on the top, it's just like, I'd rather you see a big red blemish. I also want to thank everyone who has checked in regarding Den's progress. By the time you read this comment, it will be a full 2 months since all of this foolishness began. But it has been gradually getting better, and we are almost at the finish line. Good. More strength. Less stress. Get that stress out of there. Don't think about anything but healing. Dan, okay? Just think about good thoughts. More importantly, she says, it will be Memorial Day weekend when this episode airs. That's my body saying, you get 3 days off, bud. I didn't even realize that. Memorial Day weekend. And, not to make a sad moment of this, but me and my son used to go every Memorial weekend for like 6-7 years with my dear, sweet, and, well, rest in peace, dear, wonderful friend, Chris. Yeah, we used to go, just fun camping trips. Can't do that no more. I'll just sit here. It will be Memorial Weekend when this airs. I would like to give Mike B and Johnny B a huge shout out of appreciation for their service. Because you're Supermans. In my eyes, I would also like to thank all the subscribers, viewers, and listeners of this channel who serve or have served. Yes. Miss Althea on Tracy Guns with 2 eyes. Not really sure what the point of that story was other than it being another slow day at Blabbermouth. Yeah. It was established James was a drunk when he made the comments about the Contraband album, so why would Tracy have taken it seriously at the time? And not to necessarily side with James' drunken comment, but I was not a huge fan of that Contraband project. Really? I saw them perform a short set in August 1991 when L.A. Guns was opening for Rat and Michael Schenker was filling in for Robin Crosby. I think you've mentioned that before. My overall feeling of it was meh. What was I just thinking about? Oh, someone put in a request for another first listen, and it's an LA Guns song. It's going to be coming up, maybe in the next few weeks. It's an LA Guns song, but it's got another dude singing, Chris Van Dill. He says, I think he put it in the Vicious Circles LA Guns video that we did, but it was it sounds crazy too. It doesn't sound like LA Guns. I didn't even know they had another singer. I thought it's always been Phil Lewis. Miss Althea on Ricky the Rocket Man. I thought Poison touring in 2026 was already a lock, and therefore old news. What is Brett hemming and hawing for? I honestly can't remember the last time I saw Poison live at this point. The early 2000s maybe, but I will say again, I would totally patronize any anniversary tour for Cat Dragged. Where did the last 40 years go? I know. Didn't I just buy that album like yesterday? I feel like I'm holding the magazine, Circus Magazine, seeing the ad and going, oh, she's hot, she's hot. It's not what I said. I said something else. No.
But I can still remember that, looking at the magazine and seeing the new album. And you and Ricky ghost hunting together, question mark? Hell yeah. Pitch it to Travel Channel now. You know what they would say, Travel Channel, and Travel Channel would be a good one too. What did I say, A&E? They'd say I'm a nobody. That's what they'd say. Yeah, we dig Rick, the Rick man, but you're nothing, man. You're nobody. You're not going to bring in ratings. Who wants to see that? And to that I say, touché. Why that network is still under that name, I do not know. What? Okay. Pitch it to Travel Channel now. Why? That network is still under that name. I do not know. It is basically the Paranormal Network. Yeah. And half of their programming features Jack Osbourne. Yep. Jack Osbourne ghost hunting with that lady. Jack Osbourne cruising around with his dad. Jack Osbourne, yeah, all of it. And again, you notice the licking of the lips and all that? Chapstick. Had to get another one of them. Now I'm that guy. Has to soak his lips up every 2 hours because they're dry. And that was supposed to be the thing that fixed the problem. But that's not the way products work, don't you know? We just want to fix it long enough that they got to buy another stick, you dummy. You know, it's like bicycle tubes. Really? You haven't come up with a goddamn bicycle tube that doesn't get punctured? Really? How long has the bicycle been around? 100 years? 120 years? Can't come up with a tube that doesn't pop. You know? You'd still want to refresh it. You know, it's not like you're selling one set of tubes and that's it forever, right? I get that they want to continue to sell the product, but you don't have to make fucking junk. Miss Althea on Alice Cooper. Last week, or was it the week before, I referred to Rob Halford as bionic. And now I think Alice is too. Amazing that he is showing no signs of stopping. Maybe the two of them should collab, question mark. I thought they would have by now. Rob Halford and Alice Cooper. They should do something like Bette Midler. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And they could be singing it right to each other. Because Alice Cooper's going to say, oh, he's my hero. And Alice Cooper say it back to him. Miss Althea on King Diamond. The story was inconsequential to me, but your voice was not only like Alice interpretation, but also the voice you used when reading stories pertaining to Mick Mars. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Well, they can all be, that's fine. They can all be the same voice. Draymond's proposal, what I'm scared of is, you know, Pixar getting a hold of me, and I'm trying to lay out the whole category of voices that I can do for Pixar. So when they say, we're going to sign you to a 10-movie deal, we're going to scrub Jack Black's voice out of those Panda movies, but we're going to sign you to a 10-year deal. I just want them to know that the voices can be used more than once. So you could put me in one of your Pixar movies where I do, say, the Alice Cooper voice, but then I do the Mick Mars voice in another one, and no one will ever say anything about it. They won't ever say, hey, those sound like the same characters. Miss Althea on Draymond's proposal. He went to Jared. That ring company. Remember those commercials? Great commercials. Mama, he went to Jared. Come on, get up, get down with the prenup. Yep. Come on, get up. Come on, get up, get down with the prenup. Gotta get up, come on, get down with the prenup. Big Tones, Italian 101. He has already been made aware, but I am going to start calling him the Don of this channel.
Hey, Don, Tone. I think it would be a great to incorporate a little bit of an elementary Italian lessons into your comments. Why not? We got the Y-Files, we got the movies that are bad but we love them anyways, and we've got Italian classes. What other podcast do you want, people? I'm talking to the world now. What else do you want? Good times are happening here. News, you're learning things, and then on top of it, you come to the end of the thing, you say, well, that's it. The heavy metal news is over. Then you learn smart things from smart people. You learn about freaking goddamn UFOs and aliens. And you get a movies that are bad, but we love anyways, and you might even start getting Italian lessons. It's the greatest podcast ever. I 100% agree. I think it would be great if you incorporate elementary Italian lessons into your comments. It could become a signature, like Mike B's Bad Movies That We Love Them Anyways, or Johnny B's The Y-Files. I married into a half Italian family, and outside of food items, I still only know words like ciao, agida, and mangia. I don't know what any of those are, but ciao, that's goodbye, isn't it? I know Bella, ciao Bella. They always say, oh, ciao Bella. All right, that's it for Miss Althea. She says, keeping it bitchy. Is this going to be a weird one? Feels like it. You know, the problem with this damn thing is I leave when I turn the damn when I put it down at the beginning of it, I leave it on, and then when I pick it up, you hear that noise? That's me turning it back on. So it's erased every damn thing that I did before, and I have to go through all these steps again. I'm learning patience, though. Want a song?
Mama, it's true. On Shane's podcast, we can do what we do. We can learn about some heavy metal news and hear some fun little stories with some clues. Mama, please turn on a new episode of Shane's podcast. I know I don't have any arms, but I love to listen to his wonderful charms. Oh, Mama, it's time to go to bed and listen to the latest podcast, and I laid my head on the pillow and Shane took me to Slumber Town. Slumber Town. Mama, I go to sleep now. Think of Shane now. I go to sleep now.